It was the summer of 2011 in Macon, Georgia, and a suffocating heat hung over the town, matching the panic that had gripped the community following the disappearance of Lauren Giddings, a bright 27-year-old law school graduate who had vanished days before she was set to move away. Friends and family were frantic, organizing search parties and pleading for answers, while news crews descended upon her apartment complex, interviewing neighbors for any leads. One of those neighbors was Stephen McDaniel, a fellow law student with unkempt hair and a nervous, awkward demeanor who seemed eager to help the press, positioning himself as a concerned friend who just wanted Lauren home safe. He stood before a local news camera, rambling about how quiet the neighborhood usually was and how baffling the disappearance seemed, playing the part of the worried neighbor to perfection. But then, the reporter dropped a piece of breaking news mid-interview that wasn't public knowledge yet. Police had just found a body in the dumpster right outside the apartment complex. Stephen's reaction wasn't the grief or shock of a friend, it was a sudden, terrifying stillness that has since become internet legend as the dead stare. His body went rigid, his jaw went slack, and his eyes widened, fixing on a point in the distance without blinking for several agonizing seconds, as if his entire reality was crashing down in real time. He stammered, his voice trembling, "Body? They found a body," before collapsing into a sobbing mess that felt unnervingly theatrical and hollow. Detectives, having seen the footage and sensing something deeply wrong, brought him in for questioning, where that same chilling dead stare returned. He sat in the interrogation room for hours, completely motionless, staring blankly at the wall, refusing to fidget or speak, unnerving even the seasoned officers. As they dug into his life, they uncovered a nightmare. Stephen wasn't just a quirky neighbor, but a stalker who had been secretly filming Lauren through her bedroom window for months using a camera on a stick. But just as police felt they were closing in on a confession, a search of Stephen's apartment revealed a master key that unlocked every door in the complex, and a hidden internet search history that suggested Lauren Giddings might not have been the only person he was hunting. Inside the interrogation room, the atmosphere became heavy and airless, fueled by Stephen's bizarre, statuesque behavior. For hours, he sat with his hands folded in his lap, staring at the floor without moving a muscle, not asking for a lawyer, not drinking water, and barely blinking, appearing less like a law student and more like a robot that had been powered down. Detectives tried every tactic in the book, yelling, sympathizing, lying. But Stephen remained catatonic, seemingly banking on his legal knowledge that if he just kept his mouth shut, they wouldn't have enough to charge him with murder. But while Stephen played the silent game, a cyberforensics team was busy dismantling his digital life, breaking through the encryption on his laptop to reveal a search history that was a roadmap to a massacre. They found searches for how to drug someone, Molotov cocktails, and the most painless way to kill, proving that this wasn't a crime of passion, but a calculated execution he had been fantasizing about for weeks. The physical search of his apartment yielded an even more damning clue. In a pile of trash, investigators found the cardboard packaging for a brand new hacksaw, yet the saw itself was nowhere to be found in his toolkit. The pieces were snapping together, the body in the dumpster had been dismembered, and the missing hacksaw was the missing link. But without a confession or a witness, Stephen still believed he could outsmart the system. Then, the lead detective walked back into the room with a grim look of triumph, holding a printout from a deleted folder on Stephen's camera. They hadn't just found photos of Lauren walking her dog or studying, they had recovered a video file timestamped to the early hours of the morning she died, filmed from inside her apartment while she was sleeping. The video evidence shattered the silence in the interrogation room, transforming Stephen from an awkward, quirky neighbor into a verified predator who had been ghosting through the walls of Lauren's life while she slept. Faced with the digital footage of his break-in and the packaging for the missing hacksaw, the possibility of a not guilty verdict evaporated, leaving Stephen with only one terrifying option. He had to trade the full, graphic truth of the murder in exchange for taking the death penalty off the table. With the plea deal signed, the robot finally spoke, describing the night of the killing in a flat, emotionless drone that made the veteran detectives nauseous. He recounted how he crept into her room with a mask, driven by a rage sparked when he hacked her emails and realized she was planning to move away and leave him behind forever. He detailed how he used the missing hacksaw in her bathtub, methodically erasing the bright future of the woman he claimed to love. But as the confession drew to a close, he hesitated when asked about the location of the weapon. Stephen leaned forward, a twisted smirk finally breaking his dead stare, and whispered that he hadn't thrown the hacksaw away with the rest of the evidence, but had hidden it inside the walls of the apartment complex, not to hide it, but to keep it as a trophy for his next target. Did the police find the weapon before it could be used again? And were there other victims on Stephen's radar? Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video to unlock part 4, where we reveal the final, disturbing secrets of Stephen McDaniel's dark obsession.